Welcome back, and we shall begin from exactly where we had stopped. This is where we were, and that's where we will begin from. I too will have to rejoin to keep the chat open.
Recording in progress.
So now when we talk about the mountains, like I told you earlier as well, we have to be speaking about first the formation of mountains. Now when we talk about mountains, you see figure A. Figure A has a point. So it is a pointed mountain, which we call as a regular mountain. But if you go to C, figure B has a flat tableland. So like when we go to Mahabaleshwar, Panchgini, the land is flat. It's called a tableland on top. That is called a plateau. Plateau. So a mountain is normally a pointed mountain, but if the top is flat, it is called a tableland. All right. So the tableland would normally be called a plateau. Tableland is for all of us who only wish to go sightseeing, who wish to enjoy a weekend. For us, it is tableland, but in terms of geography, it is called a plateau. Now we have some types of mountains that we have to deal with. So the first kind of mountain that we deal with is called a fold mountain. How is a fold mountain formed? By the convergence of two plates. So I will show you how the plates come and meet each other. So imagine this is one plate, one tectonic plate. And this is another tectonic plate. Okay? And both these plates are moving towards each other. They are moving towards each other. That is called convergence. When two plates move towards each other, these tectonic plates move towards each other, they collide and they form fold mountains. So when the Eurasian plate collided and the Indo-Australian plate collided, we had the mountains being formed, fold mountains. And the older ones have 8848 meter height. The newer ones have 8850 height. So you can see here in the example here, Himalayas are formed by the collision of the Eurasian and Indo-Australian plates. So recent height of the Himalayas shows you 8850 meters. And here you can see the second example given to us of the Andes Mountains formed by the collision of the South American plate and the Nazca plate. The Andes Mountains are in South America only. Right. So you're able to now identify. You need to keep the notes ready for you. At exam time, it will be very difficult to recollect and remember all this detail. So keep your notebook handy, keep making notes as we go over the curriculum. The third example we have of a fold mountain are the Rocky Mountains in North America. So you have Rocky Mountains of North America being formed by a collision coming together of the North American plate and the Cocos plate. COCOS. Cocos plate. So some plates are not very well known or are not very important from the school curriculum point of view, but they exist in the geographical point of view. So the North American plate with the Cocos plate form the Rocky Mountains. Now what happens is in your examination, they will give you, which of the following mountains is not a fold mountain. And you will have 4 options. So if you know the fold mountains, you will know the odd one out. Or they will tell you which of the following is a fold mountain and they will give you 4 options out of which only one will be a fold and there may be other kind of mountain. One more time, you need to know what are fold mountains and their examples. Sometimes it may go and match the following fold mountains, block mountains. Now, any number of questions can come out. So moving to block mountains now. Here you can see that block mountains are when plates move to form cracks. They move away from each other. All right. So I'll show you how these plates move away from each other. You should be able to explain this to yourself at a later date. So this is my first plate. And this is my second plate. Both of these are my tectonic plates. Now what's happening? This plate is moving away from here. And this plate is moving away from here. Both these plates are moving. The cracks are going to be formed. So this is my crack in between the two plates, right? This is my crack in between the two plates. The part which is cracked comes up. The part which is cracked comes up and forms a mountain. This is called a block mountain. And the part which goes down in the crack. Okay. So the red part you saw was the cracked part. This cracked part formed the mountain. But this part and this part, what happens here? They form rift valleys. They form the valleys. When the mountain we saw earlier only, mountain goes up. It has a point. So the part of the mountain which is not up but is down is called a valley. They form rift valleys. And what pushes the plates to move away from each other and form cracks? There is magma inside. You know, volcanic magma, which is inside the earth. That pushes the plates to break and crack and move away from each other. So what are the examples of the block mountains? You can see the examples here. Sierra Nevada in USA. It's Sierra Nevada. NEVADA. Sierra Nevada in USA. Then you have the Salt Range in Pakistan. You have the Satpura Range in India. These are your block mountains. Right? So hope you've written that down and we'll proceed. Third type of mountain that we see are volcanic mountains. And we all know that a volcano erupts, right? All of us see a volcano erupt. The magma which is inside uh, will flow out, and then it will start settling down. The lava flows out and the magma settles down. So that will become your volcanic mountain. And such examples, you don't need to go into the details of that, about how it settles and all, because that will not be a part of your curriculum for the upcoming exam. But here you can see below, you can see the examples formed by volcanism. Sorry, examples you can see Indonesia, Africa, and Japan. So you have the Krakatau Mountains in Indonesia. All right. You have the Aconcagua in South America. Acomagus. Aconcagua in South America, and you have Kilimanjaro in Africa. Kilimanjaro and Krakatau are the two very important examples which keep coming year after year. So you need to know them. In the residual mountains, what happens? These are the weather phenomenon mountains. What happens here? Due to excessive sunlight and excessive rain, erosion occurs. Erosion is when the top layer of the soil flows down with wind and water. So erosion happens. And the shape and size of the mountain may change. That mountain is called a residual mountain. So mountain that is caused by erosion with sunlight, with rain, or with wind. The shape and size of the mountain changes, which becomes a residual mountain. And the oldest such mountain is the Aravalli Range, which used to be initially taken as a fold mountain, but it is actually a residual mountain. And the next such mountain is the Govardhan Mountain in Mathura, Uttar Pradesh. That's also a residual mountain. All right. So I hope you've taken down this much. Again, Govardhan Mountain does not come as much of as an example as the Aravalli Mountain comes. So initially we know it used to be a fold mountain. But by geographical proof, it has been proven to be a residual mountain. Coming to what we all study and teach at the various levels in school, we come to the Himalayan mountain range. And there's a map of the Himalayan mountain range in front of you as well. Now the Himalayas are called the young fold mountain. They are the youngest plus the highest. Okay, and the highest peak of the Himalayas is Mount Everest, which is now located in Nepal. And the height I had told you earlier, it used to be taken as 8848 meters, but the new editions now show it as 8850 meters. And in Nepal, where Mount Everest is located, it is called Sagarmatha. Correct? The length of the Himalayas varies from 2,400 kilometers to 2,500 kilometers. The width is 500 kilometers Poda width in Jammu Kashmir and 300 kilometers Poda or wide in Arunachal Pradesh. Even here on the map, when you see, you will be able to identify it. Yeah, I'll change the color of that map thing so you will be able to see it. See this width. This width is 500 kilometers broad. And this width is just 300 kilometers broad. Now you understand the difference? 500 kilometers in Jammu Kashmir and 300 kilometers in Arunachal Pradesh. But the entire length of the Himalayan mountain range is 2,400 to 2,500 kilometers. So I hope you've got this much correct. You understood it and we can proceed. And you would also have noted it. Don't forget Mount Everest, highest peak located in Nepal. Height is 8850 meters. In Nepal, it is called Sagarmatha. Now, when we look at the division of the Himalayas, we very clearly know that we have longitudinal and latitudinal divisions of the Himalayas. Latitudinal divisions, longitudinal divisions. Keep that in mind always. Longitudinal divisions, latitudinal divisions. What you see here in the map are your latitudinal divisions first, which are very, very clear to everyone. See, when the Himalayas go in this direction, right? You're able to see, I hope, the green color that I'm using. If not, mention it in the chat box. I'll change the color. So when they go this way, they make a latitudinal division. On the contrary, when they go in the standing direction, so I'll change the color now for you to be able to see a bit more. You see here, this way. You can see these cuts in the mountains. Wherever there is a river passing through them, you will be able to see the cut. So these cuts make them longitudinal divisions, standing divisions, which you can see even here in this diagram, latitudinal and longitudinal division, the horizontal and vertical division. The vertical division is when the river passes through them. And we will come to that division also, maybe not right now, but sooner or later we will be covering it. Right? But make a note of it that you have the horizontal and vertical divisions of the Himalayas, which we call latitudinal and longitudinal divisions of the Himalayas. Now, when you divide the Himalayas horizontally, latitudinally, so I'm going to just use a text box to write along. Latitudinal division is your horizontal division. And vertical division is your longitudinal division. And time and again, I'm telling you, latitudinal division matlab लेटना latitude wise equator का north or south. Longitudinal division, long, vertical, standing, east or west of the prime meridian is how we count it, like we began with today. Okay, so when we now see the latitudinal divisions, what we are able to see here, the first division of the Himalayas, the outermost range of the Himalayas is called the Greater Himalayas, which you can see over here on this map. This is your Greater Himalaya, right? This is the outermost range of the Himalaya. The second range is the Middle Himalaya, which is here, which is also called the Lesser Himalaya. And the third range is your Shivalik or Outer Himalaya. So it's Himadri, Himachal, and Shivalik. Himadri is the Greater Himalayas, Himachal is the Lesser Himalaya, and Shivalik is the Outer Himalaya. 3 latitudinal ranges. And on the basis of vertical division or longitudinal basis, we have Kashmir Himalayas, Kumaon Himalaya, Nepal Himalaya, and Assam Himalaya. Right? So there are rivers which create these barriers. Kashmir, Kumaon, wherever you see the river coming. Kumaon, Nepal Himalayas coming through Nepal. Here there is a river coming through them. And the one in Assam where again the rivers flow through them. You have Kashmir Himalayas, Kumaon Himalayas, Nepal Himalayas, and Assam Himalayas, right? I hope you've noted it down. I'll give you a moment if you've not yet noted it down. Now let's take a quick look at the Greater Himalayas. Okay. Now the Greater Himalayas are formed. Okay. Where they are formed, you need not worry, but you need to see their formation. Okay, I think the annotations are left. One minute. Let me just remove the annotation, then it will be clear to you. So you can see here, this is your Greater Himalaya. The range starts at the Nanga Parbat peak, which is right here in front of you. This peak, Nanga Parbat, is right in front of you. The range starts from Nanga Parbat in Jammu Kashmir and it goes to Namcha Barwa in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, that is your Greater Himalayas. It starts from Nanga Parbat and it goes to Namcha Barwa. Highest part of this Himalaya is Mount Everest, right? Which is in Nepal. Mount Everest, Sagarmatha, height at 8850 meters above sea level. It is covered by snow for a major part of the year, hence it is called Himadri. Covered by snow for a major part of the year, hence it is called Himadri. Correct? Now, due to the height of these Himalayas, the vegetation found here will be very, very little. The average height of the Himalayas is 6,000 meters. And when you move above 4,800 meters, very little vegetation or no vegetation will happen. As you go that high, your vegetation reduces. All right? So we will keep that in mind. We will note it down. Kinds of vegetation does come for a question, height, the name of the peaks. All of these are your more or less frequently asked questions in the exam. This part which you see, which I did not cover here, is also not a part of your curriculum, though we use it for other purposes. So this is a clearer map. I thought after talking so much, I need to give you the freedom to see the map. The Greater Himalayas, like I told you earlier as well, they start from Nanga Parbat. That is our Nanga Parbat, the peak. And they end at Namcha Barwa in Arunachal Pradesh, which is the peak here, Namcha Barwa. 7756 meters is the height of Namcha Barwa. This is the highest peak of the Himalayas, Mount Everest in Nepal. Here is your peak. Clear? And this range that you see is your Greater Himalayas. Now, it is very important that we know all these things well, and we are in control of things that we know, must know, and remember. Quickly, before I move into anything else, in the chat box, let me see fastest finger first. There will be no questions coming on screen, so everyone can comfortably move to the chat box. And let me quickly see what's coming up in the chat. Very good. Let me see what's coming up. In the chat box, tell me the different types of mountains we have learned. Just the names. We are looking for the names of the mountains, not the planets. These are both not types of mountains. Plateau, not Pluto, but plateau. So plateau is a tableland, Kashmira ma'am, and a pointed mountain is the normal mountain ranges that we are talking about. Very good, Kashmira ma'am. However, the types of mountains we spoke about, very good, Saraya ma'am. We spoke about fold mountains. We spoke about volcanic mountains. We spoke about residual mountains. And the last one that we spoke about were the block mountains. And in each of the mountain ranges, we spoke about examples. So who's going to mention the examples of fold mountains? Who's mentioning the examples of fold mountains? Let me see. Very good, Saraya ma'am. Himalayas is a fold mountain. Very good. What about the block mountain? Sierra Nevada. Beautiful. Very good, Saraya ma'am. And what about residual mountain? There were two that we did. Okay, volcanic is what you're telling me, Krakatau in Indonesia. But what about residual? What about the residual mountain? Aravali is very good. Very, very good. Congratulations, Surya ma'am. You seem to be the most avid quizzer for this evening, followed by Kashmira ma'am, who's also been answering very, very well. Congratulations. Okay, another question. Name the highest peak in the Himalayas. Name the highest peak in the Himalayas. Mount Everest, and the height is 8850 meters. The height is 8850 meters. Very well. Wonderful. So I don't think I've made any annotations here. I hope not. I'll move this and we'll move ahead. So we have the final mountain peaks. One more recap. You can see here on screen, you have Namcha Barwa in Arunachal Pradesh. Another high mountain peak we have is Kanchenjunga in Sikkim, which is at 8598 meters. And there you can see the Kanchenjunga range is also the highest peak of the Himalayas within India. So sometimes it has a dispute that whether it is in the Tibetan China or in India. But Kanchenjunga is considered as the highest peak of the Himalayas from India, which is at 8598 meters. Then the other high peaks that we are aware of in the Greater Himalayas, we have the following in Nepal. There is Makalu, there is Everest, there is Mansalu, Annapurna and Dholagiri. These are the peaks of the Greater Himalayas in Nepal. Makalu, Everest, Mansalu, Annapurna and Dholagiri. These peaks again you should know. Annapurna, Everest, Makalu and Dholagiri make a very important role to play even at later stages of geography. Mansalu is a little lesser known peak. Then we have Nanda Devi, which is the undisputed highest peak of India at 7816 kilometers. Nanda Devi. And Nanda Devi, Badrinath, Kedarnath, Trishul and Nilkant. These are the 5 peaks in Uttarakhand which are very, very important for the Himalayas. But Nanda Devi is the undisputed highest peak of India. When we talk about glaciers, glaciers are these snow-covered mountains, and many rivers start from the glaciers. That is why we need to know the names of the glaciers. So they more or less are like rocks only, but they are snow-covered rocks. So the first glacier that you can see on your screen is Gaumukh, which is the origin of river Ganga over the Gangotri Glacier. The next one that you see is Milap, Milapa, which is the origin of the river Sharda. The third one is the Yamunotri Glacier. The third glacier is your Yamunotri Glacier or the Bandarpooch Glacier, Monkey's Tail Glacier, which is the origin of the river Yamuna. And the last one that you see here to the right on your screen, this one, is the Zionu Glacier. The Zionu Glacier, Zenu, which is in Sikkim, and it is the origin of the river Tista. So you have Gaumukh on the Gangotri Glacier, origin of river Ganga, Milap, origin of river Sharda, Yamunotri or Bandarpooch, Monkey's Tail, in Uttarakhand, origin of river Yamuna, and Zionu, Zenu, origin of river Tista in Sikkim. Right? These are the main important glacier names that we have currently with us, which we also try and learn for the exam point of view. Then the rocks on the Greater Himalayas that you would find, you have the granite, schist, and gneiss, Gnesis. These are the 3 types of rocks which are according to their age, and they are called archean rocks. Archean, archean rocks. Metamorphic rocks are the kind of rocks found in the Greater Himalayas. One more time, highest peak of the Himalayas, Mount Everest in Nepal. By the Chinese government, it is given as 8850 kilometers. By the Indian government, it is at 8848 kilometers. Okay. Now, in Nepal, it is called Sagarmatha. In Tibet or Tibetan China, it is called Chamoli Gama. In Tibetan China, it is called Chamoli Gama. But everybody talks about it as Mount Everest, which is actually the highest peak of the Himalaya. So with this, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat box immediately. Any questions, any comment, anything you wish to say, wish to ask, feel free. Nobody is judging us in the chat box. Otherwise, uh, we will meet next time. Until then, please revise all the previous classes, including today's, until we meet again. If you have anything to mention in the chat, please do mention. I am still leaving the screen on. Yes. Thank you to both of you for mentioning that in the chat. I am truly honored and humbled by the feedback given by all of you wonderful participants. It does truly take a lot of effort to get the PPT up. And I did feel happy when in today's revision early in the afternoon, you were able to recollect all that we had done last time. So congratulations to you for practicing and revising all that we had studied in the previous time. Please keep doing that until we meet again next time. Thank you. Have a great evening. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.